Hi everyone, uh, welcome to my talk, Ethical Hacking. October being, October being the Cybersecurity Awareness Month, this talk sits well right in here. I am Jayashree SK. You can find me in Twitter at JShreeSK. I'm an IBM Java's classes library developer. I work with IBM. Yeah. So today I'm going to take you guys through the what, why, and how of ethical hacking and the types of hacking. I will be showing them to you with the attacks that happens. We will cover as much as we can. And since this is going to be a hardly 25-minute session, I have captured all the I have captured my demo as a screenshot for you guys. I'll just familiarize the tools with you. You could later come back, take my slides, and try them out for your own. So, day by day, it is becoming very essential for each and every one of us software engineers to be aware of the vulnerabilities that are out there. You should also be able to understand what is what is waiting for us in the world. So by vulnerability, I mean the hole or a weakness in the application, in your application, which the attackers could make use of to exploit your system. They could steal data, they could capture, gain access into your system, and basically they could just cause harm. So yeah, OWASP, which is an open source foundation, it is an online community which makes all of these security vulnerabilities and the materials, the articles available for you. And you guys should always make sure you do go look into these foundations, and you keep yourself aware of what is there. So the top 10 OWASP vulnerabilities are as follows. Injection, which you guys, some of you would have already known, which is the oldest and the most feared and most popular out there in vulnerabilities which could be exploited by the attackers. The next, CVE. By CVE, it is nothing but common vulnerabilities and exposures which are given in ID, and the brief is kept in this database. The organization's MITRE organization, along with Homeland Security, is funding this organization where all the vulnerabilities that are exposed out in the developer community have a score. They have a brief entry in your, they have a score which will show what impact they have on uh, what impact they have basically. So yeah, what is hacking? Hacking is nothing but gaining unauthorized access, something that you shouldn't be doing but you do. There are three type of hackers. One is the black hat hackers, who do not have permission to your system, but they gain access into your system to steal or harm you. Then there are the gray hat hackers, who again do not have permission to your system, but they they gain access into your system not to steal or harm, but just to make you aware that these vulnerabilities are existing in your system. Even though they do not steal or harm, that is still considered illegal. The third type, which we'll be discussing today, that is the white hat hackers, who have permission to the system, where they're allowed, they're welcome to come look into the system, run whatever pen testing they are supposed to do, and find out the flaws, the security flaws in them, which is the ethical hacker. All the three of them kind of use the similar tools. It's just the purpose and the intent behind their usage which keeps them apart. And I will be taking you guys through the tools that they are using, so that you will know how easy it is for anyone out there to attack. Yeah, so like I said, why learn? You guys would be very familiar hearing this heartbleed, wanna cry, I love you. All of these viruses, every time you hear them, they're just out there creating a lot of destruction or disruption in our world. The very recent one, which is the zero login. um, this this particular attack was, even though Microsoft did give the patch in its September Tuesday patch, there are still hackers making use of this vulnerability to go and open a backdoor into the servers, into the Windows servers, which do not have the security patch fixed. Even though Microsoft has given them the patch, unless the system, unless the custom users have gone ahead and updated their patch, even before that, the hackers are creating a backdoor. What this backdoor is, I'll be explaining. And one more and the last thing, as I've said here, it is claimed that even he could get tricked. So can you and me. Unless you know what is out there, it's very easy for us to fall into the pitfalls. Not just that, this is a existing industry with a lot of job opportunities. I'm talking about the ethical hacking space. Many big companies invest heavily, and they do keep having a bug bounty programs where you can go, you once you are aware, or once you are specialized in this particular area, you can attack their system, you can pen test their systems, you can tell them any flaw, you can point them out, and it, the monetary value is really high. And like in my abstract I've said, forewarned is really pre-armed. That is why you need to know how to get started. Yes, you need a place, you need a lab where you could experiment and practice hacking or pen testing. In your lab, you will need a hacking machine, other machines to get hacked, the network to connect these, and some websites that you could hack. Instead of setting each of them separately, we could do all of these in our host machine by having a virtual box. In why in my host machine, in my host machine's virtual box, I have these three VMs. One is the Kali Linux. This is nothing but a regular Linux OS with all the pen testing tools and necessary softwares pre-built or pre-installed. Two is a Windows machine which I will be hacking into from my Kali box. And three is a Metasploitable server. It has a Metasploitable OS mainly for pen testers to go and hit the server to see all the vulnerabilities. All these three VMs are connected via the NAT1 network, and these virtual machines think this as their their Ethernet network. They think my host machine is its router via which it can access the resource. By resource, I mean the internet. There are various types of, okay, there are four main types of attacks. I will start off with the network attack. In a typical network, you will see there are different set of clients connected to one another, basically to share data or to the resources. By resources, I mean the internet. And inside every network, there will be one server, which is your, in your home network, that is your access point or the router as you call it, which will have connection to the internet. All the other clients will have to connect to the router to be able to access the resource. And everything, like for example, if I as a client in my network, I want to connect to google.com, I will first, the request will first go to my access point, the router, and then the router will fetch the details from the internet and give it back to me. All these transmissions between the client and the server, the data transmissions happens via packets of data. And inside a network, these packets will contain the source and destination MAC addresses. Only via that, these packets can move around. So in network hacking, there are pre-connection network hacking, which are the passive type. Like I said, in my network, if I have to be a rogue attacker, I first, I'm even before I'm connected to this particular network, the attacks that I'll be carrying out are the pre-networks. The tools that I will be using here, like I said, these all come in Kali Linux. Airmon ng, aerodump ng, all of these, you could see I've used the commands here, but I'll just be showing you how the attack actually happens. Most basic thing, this ifconfig. If you could just find it in your regular system as well. So uh, like I said, within a network, for any data to transfer between a client and a server, or transfer between one place to another, the packets contain the destination MAC address and the source MAC address. MAC address is nothing but the physical address given to your network interface. If imagine if I could change my MAC address, what can happen? I could become anonymous inside the network. I can bypass filter. I can impersonate someone else. That is exactly what a hacker always does. Like I show here, while in my Kali machine, which is the hacking machine, I do a ifconfig. I see my MAC address being starting with 0800. I go and do a down, and then I change the MAC address to 0001122. You can see how easy it is for me to change my MAC address. The next tool is Eramon NG. Here, uh, in the Wi-Fi network, all the datas are transmitted over air. And while these datas are transmitting, even though if you do not have the destination MAC address, you will still be able to capture the packets that are going around. For you to be able to do that, you will have to, you as a wireless adapter will have to go into monitor mode. While you're in monitor mode, you will be very easily able to sniff the packets, capture these packets, analyze these packets to get more data details. So it is always better not to use the wireless adapter that comes with your laptop. You can get an external wireless adapter which are capable of monitoring. They will come to you for around $25. I did have one of the wireless adapter like that. I connected that to my host machine. I then started that wireless adapter to run in monitor mode. I do a airmon, start, and the wireless adapter. Now my wireless adapter is in monitor mode. With this mode, what am I doing? I use a tool called aerodump ng to start sniffing. All I have to do is I do an aerodump. Now my wireless adapter is within the network of my home network. If you see on the right hand side, all the names there, Testrack 2G, Anila, Horizon, are the networks that are around me. Testrack 2G is my home network. I use my wireless adapter. I simply start aerodump ng and the wireless adapter. You could see it just starts giving me all the network routers MAC addresses on the left hand side. The ESS ID will be all the um, all the networks around me, and then you can see in which encryption these networks are encrypted, which is WPA2. Very thanks to that, it gives more security, how I will tell later. And yeah, you get to see all the MAC addresses of the routers. This was a basic sniffing. Now imagine I want to do a targeted sniffing on one particular network, which is around the Testrack 2G. That is my home networks router. What I would do is do a aerodump ng and give the MAC address of my router. And you will also notice I'm trying to capture the sniffed packets into I'm writing all these sniffed packets into a test cap. You will see in my the tool has already given me, it sniffed out everything, all the devices that are connected to my router. F4 5C is my is my Apple laptop's MAC address that is connected. It's not just as any other guys who are connected at the moment. My smart TV, my Android phone, or the iPhone, all the MAC addresses are listed there. Not just this, the packets that I have been sniffing, if I use some network analyzing tool like Wireshark, I will be able to see what each of these devices corresponding to the MAC address are. Then I have Air Replay. Next tool I would talk in this uh, pre-attack is replay ng. This is basically to de-authenticate. It's to run a de-authenticate attack where if I, as a rogue malicious client, is sitting inside the home network, I will be able to disconnect any of the other connected clients from the router. I still don't remember, I still don't have the password to the network, but I will be able to disconnect the client. All I will do is I will say, I'll give the router's MAC address. I will pretend I'm the client by giving the client MAC address and pass it on to the air replay tool, give a deauth. By this, all I'm doing is I'm disconnecting my Apple laptop from my router. Why I did this is because every time a connection, okay, every time, okay, when I stop the de-authentication, my Apple will connect back to the router. While it's doing that, we get these packets called the handshake packets. These are very helpful to crack the password of my network, to get into my network, the password given to my router. That is why I was doing that. Yeah, so far I was telling about the pre-attacks. Now to gain access, you were attacking to try to gain access into your router. What you will do here is use a tool called aircrackng. Earlier I said the encryptions were WEP, which were which were the oldest and most easy to break. Any packets that I was sniffing, if I would just pass it on to the aircrackng, it would let me know the password to enter your network. That was as simple as that. Good thing is that now we have WPA2 encryption, where none of the packets are useful, but the handshake packet that I did speak about, those are used to crack the passwords of the routers which are encrypted in WPA2s. You guys, I'm sure almost every one of you are on WPA2, but even you guys or even your password could still be cracked. What I would do is we collect the, again, we still use the tool called aircrackng, but along with giving the handshake package to it, we also have to give it a list of word list. This word list, you can generate it, you can programmatically write it, or there are websites where you simply go and give them the minimum character, the maximum character, and what type of patterns you want. If it you want it alphanumeric or just numbers, these word list, each text, I mean each line in this word list will be a computer generated pattern, and keeping the handshake packets, we will be able to crack it. So this is why it is very important you give a strong password to your routers or anywhere that whichever the attackers can crack. If you want to know, if you imagine you just give a number password, a 8-digit number password, aircrackng will take hardly 3 to 4 hours to crack your password. A 10-digit number password will take 9 hours, but if you make this password into alphanumeric, a 10-digit alphanumeric password takes around 9 months for aircrackng to crack. That is why they keep that is why everyone keeps suggesting you to make your password a bit more complexer. Even though it's difficult for you, it's better not to be hacked, or not your password not to be stolen. Yeah, I was just demonstrating what happened. My password, I put a number password, and it was able to capture it quickly. So far, yeah, we were talking about gaining access. uh, Now I'll put a stop here and I'll explain about the man in the middle attack. Typically, what happens in a network, like I said, a client connects to the access point to access the resources internet, and via it, that is how it happens. Here, when the rogue malicious computer hacker comes in between, he will pose as a router to the client, and he will pose as that client to the access point. This is exactly what man in the middle is. There are multiple various ways to achieve this. One of the way that I'll be describing is here is ARP spoofing. ARP is nothing but address resolution protocol. Basically, in your network, like if every client will have the IP addresses of the other clients within the network. So now A wants to connect to C. It will say it has C's IP address. All it will say is has the 10.2.7 IP address. That is the ARP request that it is sending. So the response will be from C, where it will give the MAC address to the where it will give the MAC address to A. That was what uh, was happening in a typical place, in a normal general scenario. But if a man in the middle is doing a ARP spoofing, he will come and tell the victim that he is at 207, while to the access point he will tell that he is at the other number. I mean, he is the router. If you're getting what I say, he's basically coming and spoofing the IP address of himself to both the router and the client, or whichever are trying to transmit the data, and he will be able to see all the data that is going through them. Before you can do this, before you can get into post connection attack, there is a very important step where information gathering. All the hackers, they consider information gathering as very crucial. Unless they get lots and lots of details about the network, about the clients, about everyone there, they won't be able to carry out their attacks. That is why they'll make use of different tools available out there to start collecting the data and gather form an attack on you. Some such tools for network gathering are Net Discover, ZenMap. If you see, these are all very commonly used applications. They were meant for good use, but the hackers will use them to all these things. Now that I have entered, now from gaining access, I know the password to your system. I have entered into your network, or I know the IP addresses of all the systems that are there in the network. All I would do is I would go inside Net Discover. I will give the IP address and the range. That will also give me the list of the clients that are there in the network. Getting the IP address, I will be able to either do a ARP spoof or any other attacks. I can take them. So one of the, like I said, the in post attacks, which are the active attacks, we will be using a tool called ARP spoof, where basically I'm just doing this particular scenario. If you see my Kali Linux machine, my MAC address is 0800. And when I do ARP-A, I can see my gateway, which is the router, is at 2.1 and its MAC address is 52. I am going and doing a two duplex thing. If you see, I'm spoofing, and 10.2.15 is my Windows machine, which I will be hacking. All I am doing is I am going and telling that Windows machine that I am the router, and then I'm going and telling the router that I am this Windows machine, which is exactly what I've shown here. Since you can't see this Windows machine, see here I would show my default gateway. My router was 2.1. This I'm on the Windows machine now. Before I ARP spoofed, the router's MAC address is 5254. But after I spoofed it, the router's IP address, if you see, it is changed to router's MAC address is changed to 08, which is my Kali Linux, my hacker machine's MAC address. Now that I have spoofed it, any transaction that happens between the client and the router, I will be very easily able to sniff out, see what all is happening there. If you see, I tried from my hacked machine. I was just trying to access a website and gave it my credentials. All of these, since they're transmitting as packets, which is going to the router, it's going via the hacked machine to the router. I was able to get the password there. To prevent these, to detect and prevent any of these networking attacks, what you would do is never use WAP, which no one is doing. Use complex passwords for WPA too, and then you try to detect the ARP spoofing. You always make sure you are monitoring your network activities to happening. And to stop the man in the middle attack, what you could do is, here this particular website was a normal HTTP website. That is why I was able to see everything that you were sending. Imagine if you use a HTTPS website, it will be encrypted and I wouldn't have been able to see the password. But even if you use a HTTPS website, what, as a hacker, as a man in the middle, I would do is, imagine you are going to Stack Overflow, which is HTTPS. The request will come to me. I will give you a page which is Stack Overflow with HTTP. I'm downgrading the website and I'm giving it to you. You will never know what you have got back. Oh, I think I've taken a lot of time. So yeah, I'll just continue. So far I was talking about the network access. Network hacking can happen outside the network as well. The hacked machine and hacker machine need not be in the same network. They can be way across anywhere. So you need to gain access. How will you gain access? There are two types, the server side and the client side. In the server side, imagine you're sitting in US and I can access, if I know the IP address of you, I sitting in India, will be able to see or view your server details if I have the IP address of you. I will use I can once using the ZenHap and everything, I will know what all services are running on your system. If I go and search the net for those services, I'll be able to see what exploits I could use to be able to attack the services which are running in your system, and I'll be able to open a backdoor to you. The other way is to via the client side attack, where I can create a backdoor, I can create a malicious code, I can send an email to you. As soon as you just click on it, you're done. I can open a backdoor into your system and I'll be able to do anything. um, I will just so I spoke about sending an email, how I will know your IP, how I'll know your email address. That is via social engineering. I will be able to do all of these. The tool Meltigo, you can just go, I will be building a case against you to attack you. So that is what I'll do. So once you have gotten, or once my malicious code is running in your system, which is post exploitation, see, imagine from my Kali machine, on the Windows machine, I have a backdoor opened. I will be able to do or see everything that you're doing. This is outside the HTTPS. This is directly, I will say, key scan start, and every keystroke that you do in your system, I will be able to view it here. Not just that, I'll be able to open your webcam, or I could do a lot of things. I could use your system to steal your information, or use it to send a huge attack in the network. Your system will become one of the pawns that could be used, or to blackmail you, so on. So yeah, prevention is, uh, do not download anything outside. Always use the trusted network, and try to use VPNs as much as possible, and always be aware. You might think it is from someone, but someone you know, but it could be a hacker sitting there sending you all these things. So I would say always be cyber smart. So that's all. Thank you, guys.